Sarah agreed to do it that year. I
Yeah.
was like, all right, cool, let's go.
Good morning, Nate.
Good morning, Gail. Can you hear me okay?
How's
Yep.
she doing? Is she at Belgian time?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, she traced out up there.
Yeah.
She's much happier.
Yeah.
She liked it a lot better. It just
Oh,
felt
that's
like
good.
I don't know, she felt like she needed a fresh start.
Yeah.
They have a little bit more to offer up there, you know?
Yeah.
So she's good. She's good. She's in college.
Yeah.
How about your daughter?
She's good, yeah. Just can't, she's excited to graduate. She's
She thinking about
Good.
college?
yeah, she got into a lot of nursing programs. She's gonna go for nursing.
Okay.
So her first choice is the University of New England in Maine. So
Whereabouts?
that's in Biddeford.
Oh.
Yeah, kind of near Ocean Park, over the
Yeah.
beach, kind of like a big.
Yeah. No, my friend, well, my son's cousin.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So
it's.
yeah, water, yeah. Yeah. So it's a good fit. So I think that's probably gonna be where she goes. She's
Cool.
like, I just wanna see we'll see what the financial aid is from the other places. I said, if you want that school, this year, you're gonna go, I'll,
Right.
We'll be here.
Yeah. That's exciting.
Yeah.
All right, we'll just give it another few minutes.
Couple weeks. Oh, really? I like those, gonna be a lot of people.
There are some more Zoom people this week than in
Oh,
person.
yeah.
Yeah,
It is
cold.
maybe
The weather.
The weather
uh,
likes to keep people under the blankets, you know.
Yeah.
That's understandable.
The car I was gonna take was covered in ice. And I was like, I guess I'll take Julia's car because I it's already gone off. I don't know why, but didn't have any ice on it.
All right.
I know.
When we took them all first,
Yeah.
I read them all. Yeah.
I'll have you sit. You know, stuff like that. Right now we're going to. And then like the softball.
Yeah, I'll throw it for it. It's such a fun one. It's just like, do you remember we did all the golf?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. All right, good morning. We can start and we'll just catch up people if they show up. We're going to start off by doing the Gayatri mantra, which I typically do when we start off these classes. And the Gayatri mantra is one of the oldest chants that's was ever written down. It goes back about 4,000 years to when some of the original text from the Vedic religion started coming into writing. A lot of the early Eastern philosophy was just passed through oral tradition, but then eventually it started to become documented. And some of the first documented chants tie back to the Gayatri mantra. And the Gayatri mantra is essentially it's calling to the creative power that brought the universe into being to inspire our own creativity at the mind, body, and spirit level. And so what we'll do to start off is we'll come into a seated position, and you can go ahead and either sit cross-legged in Sukhasana, or you can do the hero pose in Vajrasana. I typically will sit like this, but whichever posture is comfortable for you. And we'll do the Gayatri mantra, and then we'll come into a couple of breathing pranayama practices to get our breathing in sync before we do our practice. So we'll just kind of close our eyes here for a second and center. We'll start to do an Ujjayi breath, and that is like fogging a mirror, but with your mouth closed, and you can feel a little bit of a contraction in your throat, and you can start to hear your own breath between your soft palate and your earlobes. And just settle into your breath and start listening to that breathing in and out, and try to breathe at an even pace with a little more focus on your exhale than your inhale. Om Bhuvasva Tatsavator Varenyam Bargo Devasya Dhimahi Dio Yona Prachodya. Om. So just a little bit about Ayurvedic Inspired Yoga. Um, Ayurvedic science is roughly dates back to the same timing as the origins of yoga. And it's following the body's process at a scientific level. And it's been documented in texts. Some of the trials and errors that some of these original rishis or seers in India developed on how to keep the body, basically through yogic practice for postures and meditation for mental health, and also dietary things and the selection of different spices and foods as they relate to not only the individual and specific body types, but how it translates seasonally throughout the year. And there's a lot of it goes back to the 5 elements: earth, water, fire, earth, fire, water, air, and ether, or the energetic field of existence. And so during this time of year, one of the 3 major energy fields or doshas is Kapha, and Kapha dosha is consistent with your tendons, your bones, the denser parts of your body, your muscles. It also has to do with your memory, and it's associated with the earth element. And so this time of year, especially in colder climates, all of those things are slowed down. Just cold weather, you can see it in the water starts to freeze. That translates into the energy inside of our body too. Our blood flow slows down a little bit. It's harder to generate body heat, so your body will stop perspiring and really try to keep that energy inside of you more during the winter. And if you get really cold, you'll notice that you start to shiver. And so what we will try to do this time of year with Ayurvedic yoga is to generate natural energy within the body to try to keep your body in a happy state energetically, so that you can kind of combat some of the outside energy, just environmentally, that you're getting. And a few of these breathing practices that we're going to do, we'll focus on balancing the 2 different sides of the lungs. We'll also practice kapalabathi, which energizes the mind. And we'll also do Brahmari pranayama, which is, it's just kind of like a mental reset. So it's a great way to kind of tune in and just kind of like reset your energy level. So we'll go through those 3 together before we start our practice. And nadishodhana you can do by keeping your pinky and ring finger together and your thumb like this. And typically it's done with the right hand, but you can use whichever hand you're comfortable with. And essentially we're going to just be blocking off one side of the nostril inhaling through the left nostril and closing the left nostril and exhaling through the right nostril. And what we can do is I'll just show a little bit of maybe 1 or 2 cycles ahead of time, and then we'll do probably 7 or 8 cycles together. And the theory behind this is it's nadishodhana. Nadi is channels or energy channels. There's over 107,000 different energy channels, according to yogic philosophy, that flow throughout your body. And some of the main energy centers are your chakras. And 2 of the most important energy channels are the masculine and feminine energies inside of you that is supposedly comes through your left and right nostril. And so just a direct way to kind of balance your energy is through nadishodhana directly. And so it's a great place to start breathing wise, because it can start to regulate this normal breathing pace. Most people, just through the habit of their own body, their body will favor one side of their lung lobes than the other. And so this is like a conscious way of controlling your lung capacity and balancing out your energies before we start. So I'll come to a full exhale, and then I'll restrict my right nostril just at the bridge of my nose and inhale about 3 to 4 seconds, and then I'll close off my left nostril and exhale out of the right. And then I'll close off my right, or I'm sorry, inhale through the right. And I'll close off my right and exhale through the left. That's 1 full cycle, and then we'll inhale through the left. Block off the left and exhale through the right. Inhale through the right. We'll block the right and exhale through the left. I'll say 1 more out loud with you. We'll inhale through the left. We'll block the left and exhale through the right, and feel free to find your own pace and rhythm. Inhale right, and we'll block the right. Exhale through the left. Go ahead and do this 5 more times. Finding your own pace and rhythm. Just pay attention to your own timing. You may notice over time as you're doing this, if you're able to listen inside of yourself and look inside of yourself, you may feel an equilibrium start to happen in your lungs. This is a great practice to do at the beginning of the day. And also can be done really anytime you need to just have a kind of an energetic reset. The next thing we'll do is we'll go ahead and do kapalabathi, and I'll just demonstrate that first with you. It's Sanskrit is kapalabathi, but it translates into skull shining breath. It's a way to kind of energetically wake up your mind and your third eye and your intuition. And so I'll demonstrate this one ahead of time as well. It can take a little bit of getting used to. It's more of like a rhythm that you develop. You're going to exhale fully and then inhale about 2/3 of the way, and then you're going to blow out your nose quick, short breaths, and you'll passively inhale. So your body will kind of take over the inhaling part. So the focus should just be on the exhale, and you can just come up with a rhythm. Don't try to necessarily copy me, you don't have to, but come up with a rhythm that's comfortable to you as we go through this process. And finding an even pace for yourself is going to be more important than trying to copy any pace that I might be doing. So I'll just go ahead and show maybe 5 of these breaths, and then we'll go ahead and do anywhere from 10 to 20 together, okay? So I'll exhale and inhale about 2/3 of the capacity. So I guess you could compare it a little bit to a hyperventilating, where it's designed to really oxygenate your lungs, but it's more of kind of a controlled and thoughtful process about it. Your body will do the inhale for you all on its own. So it can help to just consciously think about the exhale as it's going along. So we'll just go ahead and maybe just start with 5 or 10 if that's what you're comfortable with. And you can work your way all the way up to between 10 and 20. So go ahead and exhale. We'll inhale about 2/3. Feel free to pause or stop at any time that's comfortable for you. We'll go ahead and do this 2 more times. It takes a little bit of practice, and you'll get used to it if you do it a few times, just what your body naturally kind of wants to do as a rhythm to it. You also notice that your diaphragm will start to just kind of gently compress in as you do your exhales. And that is just kind of generating and creating that lung response between your diaphragm and your brain. And so go ahead and exhale. Inhale about 2/3 of the way. When you're done that cycle, just let your breathing come to a regular cycle here. Start to notice any energetic change you might be experiencing. It's kind of a nice way of bringing some alertness to you. And I like to think of practicing these things in a place of calm and in a practice space in preparation for life and all of the unpredictable energy that comes at you in life. And so if we practice our breathing in a controlled space, you'll notice that over time with yogic practice that your body will be able to self-regulate a little more even when it's under stress. And so that's one of the main benefits you'll notice about it. We'll do this one more, and then we'll do one more breathing practice. So exhale fully. Inhale about 2/3 of the way. And then we'll go ahead and okay, just release that for a minute. Just let your breathing come back to a normal, restorative, rested breath. If you need to switch leg positions throughout or alternate the position of your legs, that can be helpful. Sometimes just letting your legs rest out in front of you or bringing a slight bend to your legs can really release tension in the back of your legs here. So the last one we'll do is Brahmari pranayama. And Brahmari pranayama is along the lines of sense deprivation. So you basically block out senses in order to bring in a little bit of a meditative process to the mind. And so what we can do here for that is, hi, come on in. Good morning. I'm Nathan. Nice to meet you. Oh, okay. Welcome. Welcome. We're just doing a little bit of breathing and centering practices as we get ready to do some of the more posture-based yoga here. So I'm about to describe our last breathing process that we're going to do, or pranayama that we're going to do. It's called Brahmari pranayama, and you hold your hands like so, like this, with your thumbs out and your pointer and middle finger. And I'll just demonstrate it first, and then we can do it together. We'll do it 3 times, okay? Essentially, you just do a full exhale and then breathe in. And then you just gently place your fingertips on top of your eyelids and gently place your thumbs over your ears. And you just hum. We're just going to hum anywhere from 5 to 10 seconds. So I'll exhale, inhale. So we'll do that about 3 times together. And it's a good, really interesting way to just kind of reset your mind, especially if you're like holding on to something throughout your day, or there's something you feel like maybe you want to let go of. This is a great way to just kind of pull in for a second and be able to reset. So we'll go ahead and exhale, inhale, and we'll get our hands ready here. We'll gently place them over our ears and eyes, and we'll hum out together. And we'll inhale again. Inhale one more time and again. It's kind of like turning the lights on again when you open your eyes. Just give yourself a second to have your eyes recover. Let your breathing come to a normal restorative breath. And whenever you're comfortable, we'll go ahead and we'll come to a standing position to begin some of our asana practices. So we'll start off in Tadasana, or mountain posture, and we can start off by rooting with our feet. Each foot has 3 pressure points that most of our weight is distributed on. That would be our heel and our big toe ball and the right, or where the pinky ball is on each foot. And so those are 3 points of contact on each foot. And we can really tune into those by lifting our toes up off the ground and slightly yielding and just relaxing a little bit in our knees. And that's a great way to just kind of zone in and sink in while in mountain posture. And we'll just close our eyes here if you can. Some people may feel a little bit of sense of balance loss when they close their eyes. If you can, close them. And we'll bring in Ujjayi breath again here, which is a little bit of throat restriction where you'll try to fog a mirror, but with your mouth closed. And you can do inhale and exhales like this. It kind of generates this sensation of the ocean moving in and out with your inhale and exhales. It's important to just get your breathing to go in sync with your yoga postures here. And so I'll cue breathing with inhale and exhale as we go through the postures. And to start off, we'll just do half sun salutation or Ardha Surya Namaskar. On our inhale, we'll bring our hands up overhead. On our exhale, we'll come down. And it's more important to have your chest relax against your thighs than to have your knees and legs straight here. So try to rest your chest against your thighs. We'll inhale, we'll come halfway up here, and we'll reach our tail and crown away from each other and relax our head here. Then we'll exhale down. We'll inhale, we'll come all the way up. And we'll exhale down again. That's one half sun salutation. We'll go ahead and do 3 more together, okay? And we'll inhale, we'll bring our arms up overhead. We'll exhale down. We'll inhale, we'll come halfway up. Exhale down. We'll inhale, arms come all the way up overhead. We'll exhale back down again into center. Do 2 more. We'll go ahead and inhale with our arms up overhead. Exhale. We'll inhale halfway up. Exhale back down. And we'll inhale and come all the way up again. Let's go ahead and do 1 more. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, we'll come down. Inhale halfway up here. Exhale down to Uttasana. We'll inhale and come all the way up again. And we'll exhale into Pranamasana. Just let that go for a second. Notice the energy start to build in your body a little bit here. What we're going to do is we're going to come down into a seated posture, into Dandasana. And we'll go ahead and root ourselves down with our 2 sits bones. And if you have tight thighs or hamstrings here, you can go ahead and release a little bit of tension on the back of your thighs by just picking up your thighs and pulling your feet in a little. If it's comfortable for you to have your legs completely level with the ground, go ahead. And notice that you can root down with your 2 sits bones. Your sits bones are actually attached to your legs, not your hip sockets. And so when you sit like this, it's more about kind of adjusting your legs than it is about your hips themselves. I was kind of an interesting thing to learn when I was first studying anatomy. And so what we're going to do here is we're going to come into bound angle pose or Baddha Konasana. We'll bring our feet in, and it's not necessarily how far in or how far out you go. I want you to feel free to find your own comfortable space here. And when we come into yogic postures, there's a concept in body yoga, which is a school of yoga I graduated from, called Sthira Sukham Asanam, and it stands for sweet and steady posture. So as we're doing these yogic postures, you're always using your inner sensing to come into your body and listen to your body and discover what feels the best for it. And Sthira Sukham stands for sweet and steady. So the sweetness is being in tune with what feels good for your body, along with what is steady or sustainable. So you always want to listen to yourself as you're practicing yoga, rather than to emulate any postures that the teacher is giving. And if there's ever a certain uncomfortableness, I'll try to observe that there may be postures that might seem uncomfortable for you, and I'll try to talk you through finding that sweet and steady posture with yourself. So for some people, having their feet out in front of them at this distance is more comfortable. Some people can open up their hips pretty wide and pull their feet in. I want you just to kind of find your own posture that's comfortable for you. And what we'll do is we'll go ahead and we'll just place our palms up on top of our knees here. And we're just gonna listen and breathe and tune into our body here. And if you need to adjust a little bit throughout, that's perfectly understandable. We're just trying to tune in to how our body feels. We'll do 3 breaths here. We'll do 1 more breath here. What we're going to do is we're going to position into head over knee posture or Janu Sirsasana. So extend your right leg out in front of you. And I'll just pivot to show everyone. We'll extend our right foot and we'll just gently pull our left foot against our thigh. And you can be up near your knee if that's comfortable. You can be in closer with your thigh if you need. And also, if you're practicing and you ever get uncomfortable with your knees here, there's blocks here to use. There's certain times where you can use blocks as props to help you. So if you have trouble opening your hip and you need something to rest your knee on, you can go ahead and use a block at times to do that as well. So I just like to show a few different ways of doing the postures for whatever's comfortable for you. So important here is to reroot yourself with your sits bones as you're settling in here like so, and we'll raise our crown up out of our hips as we root down our sits bones. And we're going to inhale and come up together, and then we'll pivot towards our extended leg and we'll exhale and we'll come down whatever amount is comfortable for you here. If you can only just sit here with your arms planted, that's enough. If you want to come down over the top of your knee here, the most important thing to do within this posture is try to find a sweetness and calmness to your breathing as you bend over your right knee here. We'll just do 2 to 3 breaths here. If you need to loosen up some tension on the back of your leg, you can go ahead and pull your knee up just a little bit, and that'll release some tension from the back of your leg. Do 2 more breaths here. And when you've done your last inhale, we're going to go ahead and we'll bring our extended leg back in, and we'll pivot and extend our other leg back out. And we'll bring our right foot in close to our thigh. If you can only go out to your calf, that's okay. And if you need to use a block to prop yourself, you can go ahead. So what we'll do here is we'll reroot through our sits bones. We'll rise our crown out of our tail here. And when we go ahead to lean over towards our knee, remember to keep that extension throughout your torso. The tendency is to kind of scrunch up as we lean forward like that, but try to picture your crown reaching the ceiling as you fold over. And so we'll inhale up together. And remember to try to keep extension as you come down. Any amount that's comfortable. Don't feel like you have to touch your toes or overextend here. Remember, we're trying to find the sweetness and steadiness in our posture. What feels good, but what also can we keep sustained, and what can we keep doing? We'll do 2 more breaths here. On your next inhale, we'll go ahead and we'll bring both our feet back together and we'll pivot to our side and we'll come up onto our knees here. And if you need to use a blanket under this process, feel free to. That can help. If anyone wanted to use my blanket, they can feel free to. It's clean. What we're going to do is we're going to inhale, bring our arms up overhead. And we'll exhale down and come into child's posture. Now you can have your hands extended out in front of you for more of a shoulder stretch, or you can bring your hands by your shoulders back here. What we're going to do here is just tune into the compression happening in our lungs. Our organs like to be gently squeezed, and through the yogic practice of twisting and turning, extending, contracting, we're gently squeezing our organs throughout this process. We'll do 2 more breaths here and really try to breathe into the back lungs and your back muscles and your lower back. This position really helps to bring oxygen to your back body. So one more real nice breath here. And what we'll do is we'll come up into a seated posture again. And what we'll do is we'll bring our forearms and hands out in front of us here. And then we'll extend our legs back behind us. And we'll come into Sphinx posture here. Now, if Sphinx is uncomfortable, it can be uncomfortable for people with tight neck or tight shoulders. You can come down into Gator, which is basically hands over the top of each other and your forehead resting on the back of your hands. But if you're okay and comfortable in Sphinx, it's important to remember that your elbows should be slightly in front of your shoulders here, instead of kind of tucked in. There's a tendency to do like a T-Rex thing where you pull in your arms real close. So if you can get that space, it's important to build space in your torso and across your collarbones in this posture. So our shoulders are nice and wide. Our shoulder, elbow, and wrists are lined up with each other. And our elbows are gently and slightly in front of our shoulders here. And what I want you to do, if you can, and if you're, some people have tension in their forearms, you can actually tent your fingers here if that's a little more comfortable for you. Sometimes that can bring some relief. If you're comfortable with having your forearms and palms down, we'll gently push forward here, almost as if we're pushing off of a wall, and feel your hands relate all the way back to your tailbone here in this position, if you can. And it's important here to just relax your neck muscles here. And what we're doing is essentially we're creating a cradle for your head to finally be able to relax here. And when you're in this posture, you'll notice through inner sensing, maybe just how much tension your neck is holding and just how much tension is in your face and in your ears and in the top of your head. I encourage you to keep that breathing in tune with yourself here through Ujjayi breath, the sound of the ocean coming through between your earlobes. Can you do 3 to 4 seconds? Exhale, 3 to 4 seconds, inhale, and keep that calm and soothing pace of breath. That's really going to wash your muscles and lungs with enough oxygen throughout the practice. What we'll do on our next inhale is we'll gently peer up and over our left shoulder. Don't feel like you have to force yourself up and over. Any amount is okay, even if it's just a slight amount. And then we'll exhale and we'll release our neck and just kind of hold ourselves here. And then on our next inhale, we'll gently peer up and over our right shoulder. Exhale and just release your head down. Now go at your own pace and we'll go ahead and inhale. We'll come up with our head over, peering over our left shoulder here. Remember to push down and away through your hands and palms. Then we'll exhale and we'll release our head and neck down and just cradle it between our shoulders and collarbone here. And then we'll inhale, we'll come up and peer up and over our right. Go ahead and do one more cycle of this at your own timing and pace. What we're going to do here is we're going to push back into downward facing dog, and I'll show you how to do that from here. You'll just basically reset your hands and palms, and you'll begin to come up into cat position. And then from here, you'll place your toes underneath you and you'll begin to push up. Okay, and that'll come up into upward or downward facing dog. Exactly. And then from here, if you need to lower your knees in order to step up, we'll go ahead and do so. And then we'll come up into standing position again. All right, so we've done a little bit of opening position and some core work on the ground here and some leg extensions and torso extensions. We're going to do 2 more rounds of half sun salutation, and then we'll go into a few full sun salutations. And I'll just kind of walk you through those as we go through them, okay? What we did earlier, so we'll root ourselves with our feet here by picking up our toes, and we'll yield a little bit through our knees here. Feet can be together or they can be shoulder width apart. Remember, we're finding the sweet and steadiness in our posture. We'll inhale, we'll come up. We'll exhale, we'll come down. We'll inhale halfway up again. We'll exhale down into Uttasana. And we'll inhale and come up back into Tadasana, and then exhale down into pranayama. We'll do this 2 more times, and this time I want you just to kind of listen to the comfortableness inside your body as we inhale, and then we exhale. I want you to really find the comfortableness in your posture here. We'll inhale and come halfway up. We'll exhale, we'll come halfway down. And then we'll inhale, we'll come all the way up. And then we'll exhale back into Pranamasana. Do 1 more, and then we'll pop into a full sun salutation. Inhale, arms come up. We'll exhale down. We'll inhale, we'll come halfway up. We'll exhale down. And then we'll inhale all the way up 1 more time. And we'll exhale. Let that go for a second. And if you have sun salutation or Surya Namaskar in your practice, you can follow along with me as I demonstrate it. Or if you'd like to just watch me do it through one sequence, you can go ahead and follow along just visually to start. So it starts off like half sun salutation, where you inhale and your arms come up overhead. Then you exhale down. Then you inhale halfway up. You exhale down. And then in this posture, plant your hands And we'll keep our right foot planted and we'll bring our left leg back and put our knee on the ground here. And then we'll inhale, we'll come up overhead. We'll exhale down and plant our hands. We'll swing our right leg back behind us and we'll place those down and come up into a full sunset, downward facing dog. I do mine modified with my forearms down. Typically, downward facing dog is done with full arm extensions. So we'll place our left knee down here and we'll step our right knee forward. We'll inhale. We'll exhale. And right now here, we're going to bring our leg back and then we'll exhale down and place our hands under our shoulders and we'll inhale up. Either cobra, upward facing dog, or you can do Sphinx in this posture. And then we'll exhale by planting our hands and feet and come back up into downward facing dog. We'll lower our right knee this time. And we'll bring our left knee forward. There you go. And then we'll inhale, we'll come up overhead. We'll exhale, we'll plant our hands. And our back foot here will plant and we'll extend our back leg and step up. And from the step up position, we inhale and we come out halfway. We exhale down into Uttasana. And then we inhale all the way back up. And exhale. How did that feel for everyone? Okay. All right, great. For some people, that's a very common posture sequence in yoga, but for people who have never tried it, I really like to slow it down just to make sure that you can get the transitions of your feet and heels. It almost doesn't seem like your body can do this stuff, but geometrically, your body's kind of just big enough to do this stuff. And why it's incorporated into a lot of yoga postures is it's really incorporating a lot of the twists and bends that your body can do all in one group sequence of postures. And you'll notice it's also a heat building posture. So during the winter, it can be a really good posture to do to really waken up the whole body and get that energy flowing. So if you guys are comfortable, we'll go ahead and do 2 more of these together. We'll start off the same way in Tadasana. We'll inhale, we'll bring our arms up overhead. We'll exhale, we'll come down. We'll inhale, we'll come halfway up. We'll exhale down. And this time we'll step our left leg back here and bring it down with our knee down. When we plant our front foot, we want to make sure it's about even with our ankle and knee. And then we'll inhale up overhead. I added an extra lunge the first time. We'll exhale here, and we're actually going to bring our right foot back, plant our hands, and push from feet to head and hands to tail and come up into downward facing dog. We'll exhale and we'll lower and come down for cobra. Inhale up into cobra or upward facing dog. We'll exhale down and we'll push from our hands to our tail and our feet to our crown back up into downward facing dog. And from here, this time we're going to place our right foot down, our right knee down rather, and we'll step our left foot up. We'll inhale, we'll come up overhead. We'll Exhale, and we'll just pause here for a second. I want you just to notice how things feel for you here. Your body will kind of tell you if you're balanced here in this position. And so if you need to in the future, you can use blankets for your knees in the back if this is where you're feeling a little bit of uncomfortableness. And also we want to just make sure that our feet are cued over our knee. Our hips are square with our shoulders here. And those three things are really going to keep us together within this posture. And so what we're going to do is we're going to exhale down, place our hands down, extend our back foot, and then step forward. From here, we're going to go right into the half fold, half uttasana, Ardha Uttasana. Exhale down. And we'll inhale, we'll rise, reaching our crown away from our tail. And then we'll exhale down to pranamasana. Okay, let's do that one more time. We'll exhale and we'll come up with our arms inhaling overhead. Exhale down. Inhale halfway up here. Exhale down. Place our hands, and this time we'll step our left leg back and lower our knee. Make sure our base is steady before we come up here and inhale. We'll exhale down, plant our hands, bring our foot back behind us, fully extend our legs, reaching from our feet to our head here, from our hands to our tail here. Then we'll exhale, come down. We'll inhale, come up into either cobra or upward facing dog. Exhale down. We'll press through our hands back to our tail and come up into downward facing dog again. This time we'll lower our left knee and we'll step our right foot up in front of us here, having our hands keep us balanced. Inhale, come up overhead. And we'll exhale down, place our hands by our feet, extend our back foot, and use that to push us forward into a half salutation. Exhale down, Uttasana. Inhale as we rise our head away from our tail, and exhale down into Pranamasana. How's that feeling for everyone? Getting the energy moving for you here? Okay, that's a really full body set of postures, especially during the winter. That can be really important to get the whole body working together. If you can only do 5 minutes of yoga a day, that's the set of postures to do. It'll really get the whole body working all at once. We're going to do a little bit of some focus and core-based postures to round things out here. So we'll start again into Tadasana like this. We'll just let our breathing come to a relaxed pace for a moment. We'll root down with our feet again, get ourselves kind of reset here. Feeling the energy from the sun salutation. On your next inhale, I want you to come down into Utkatasana or fierce posture. So on an inhale, you bring your arms up or keep them in a prayer position, and then you sit back down with your thighs and your hips here. And this is Utkatasana. Some people can only go around here. Some people can sit way down into it. Find what's comfortable for you here. And just make sure you're reaching your head away from your tail here. And that'll create space in your abdomen here. So go ahead and we'll inhale, we'll come back up here. And then we'll exhale down into Utkatasana again. I just want you to get used to getting into this position. It can be a little unusual at first. We'll inhale, we'll come up. And then we'll exhale again down into Utkatasana. Now from here, just hold this for a second. Get your feet nice and comfortable underneath you. And on an exhale, we're going to step our right foot back here. Slightly open. So we're going to have our right foot maybe slightly at an angle. And we want to keep our heel lined up with our heel. So we'll line our front heel up to our back heel. We'll make sure our knee is over our ankle on our front leg. And this is warrior one, okay? In warrior one, we can go ahead and inhale here. And we'll exhale down into prayer position for a moment. We'll do 2 or 3 breaths here. Really feel the relation of your 2 feet here. They're both doing very different things, but together they're keeping yourself balanced through your torso. What we're going to do from here in this posture, and I'll turn just to show you, is we're going to open up and come back into warrior 2. And what warrior 2 requires is you're going to inhale and come up, but also pivot your back foot out more and open up your hips more. Exactly. So your front foot's still going to have that knee to ankle symmetry, but your back leg is going to open up just a little bit, and your foot won't be behind you in its trajectory. It'll still be towards your front direction here. And your foot is actually comprised of 2 different plates. Your big toe and your second toe are on one plate, and your outside 3 toes are on another plate. And what this posture does is it kind of gently pulls those plates apart for you there, just to give you some relaxation. We'll exhale and we'll just sit into the posture just a little bit here. Very nice. And then when we come out of it, we're going to pivot our back foot and step forward and come back into standing Tadasana. Okay, comfortable with everyone there? We're going to go ahead and switch it and do it on the other side as well here. So we'll come up with an inhale and we'll exhale. We'll sit back in Utkatasana or fierce posture. Inhale. Exhale, and we'll step our left foot back here with a slight opening in the foot. We still want to keep our heels lined up with each other. And sometimes, occasionally, if balance can be uncomfortable here, using a wall to assist is perfectly understandable and necessary at times. So don't feel like you can't do that if you need to. We'll inhale and we'll come up overhead. We'll exhale down. And it can help to pick a point on the wall in front of you or in your gaze in front of you to focus on when you were balancing like this. Because essentially this is a balancing posture. It's the beginning stages of balancing. We'll exhale and we'll open up our back foot and open up our hips more. Keeping our back foot still pointed forward slightly, but almost at a 90-degree here. And we may need to walk our front foot forward a little bit to keep our knee and ankle over each other. And we'll just keep our arms open here. You can either place them down to be grounded or place them up to be more open to divine energy. Just find your breath here if you can. Warrior 2 is the warrior of action. So we're more exposed, we're more vulnerable, we're more open in this posture, but we're also more ready for action when we're more open. We'll do 2 more breaths here, picking a spot to focus on if we need to. One more breath here. We'll pivot our back foot, we'll pivot our hips, and then we'll press forward into our standing position, back into Tadasana here. We'll just let our breath go, come back to a normal breathing cycle here for a moment. And we're going to do a couple tree positions here, really just one tree position, but we're going to alternate sides. And so if balancing is a little uncomfortable for you, you can always do this by just placing one forearm on the wall and bringing your leg up. Your foot placement can be anywhere except the knee. It's not recommended to put pressure directly on the knee like that. So if you can bring your foot above your thigh, if you need to keep it at your calf, or if it's comfortable at your ankle, those are all different variations of tree that we can do. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to set up for it and then do whichever version of it is comfortable, sweet and steady for you. Okay, so you come into it the same way we were getting into warrior, by inhaling, arms up, and exhale down. And now that we have a little bit of buoyancy, we press down with our left leg and we pick up and we come into tree with our right. And you can go anywhere here. You can go anywhere at the ankle, calf, upper thigh, or even all the way up to the groin, if that's within your practice. And holding your hands in prayer, totally fine. Arms open is fine. Arms above is fine. That part is completely up to the user and the practitioner. And if you need to do all of this at a wall, feel free to. It can actually really help get your balance and focus centered here. Just demonstrate here. We yield with our planted foot and we rise up our head and pick a spot to focus on. And if you need to come out of it at any time, come out of it. And if you'd like to reset, just reset. If you lose your balance and have to reset, we'll come down again and yield with our energy in our planted leg and rise up a little as we pull ourselves into tree here. Any amount of tree is fine. It's just a focus and a mind meditation in a way, and also getting more in touch with your body posture here. We'll go ahead and exhale and let that go and just come back to rest. So I suffered a knee injury several years ago, and I used to be able to do tree kind of at any point. But somatically, my brain kind of recoiled after the knee injury, and I was like, I can't do tree right now. And so it's been a hard posture for me to come back to. A lot of people experience trauma through the knee and through their hips as well, and through their feet most of their lives, or can rather. And so if you need to use props to get into balancing positions, feel free. Most of the time, it's usually your mind kind of reacting to a little bit of uncomfortableness within the balancing posture. And so just to give yourself a little bit of confidence, it can help to have that balancing. And you can also do it with like a chair in front of you or next to you. So we'll go ahead and we'll do the other side to keep things balanced here. We'll exhale, we'll inhale up. Exhale to a slightly seated position here, and then we'll rise up with the leg we're planting, and we'll come up whatever amount is comfortable within tree here. You can even have your foot planted, resting against your ankle like so. This can be enough. Any amount you can come into is fine here. And pick a spot to focus on. Can help keep your gaze within your balance here. And we'll exhale whenever you feel like you've gotten through the posture enough for your own needs. So for me, that was something that was comfortable, then it became uncomfortable, and now I just kind of have to slowly practice it as I get back into it. And that can kind of be a similar experience for others. You know, balance might have been something you could just naturally do when you were younger. I know that was the case for me. So balancing postures can take a little bit of practice and repetition. So we'll go ahead and we'll come down into a seated position, but we'll get there by doing a half sun salutation. So we'll do an inhale, we'll come up, we'll exhale down. And from here, what we'll do is we'll either place our hands behind us and come down, or we'll place our hands in front of us and bring our knees down here. And then we'll come into Dandasana. So what we're going to do here is we're going to actually come into a version of bound angle that we did in the beginning, but we're going to do it in a supine position. So if it's comfortable for you to be with a blanket under your back and hips, now would be the time to do that, if that's what you need in your practice. So we'll exhale and we'll come down into Supta Baddha Konasana. It starts off like Shavasana, but then we bring in our feet together into bound angle again. Whatever amount is comfortable, whether it be up close and your hips can comfortably open up wide, or if you need to relax your legs and keep your feet forward a little bit. The reoccurring theme for today is sweet and steady. So we're going to find what's most comfortable for us in this position. We'll do 2 to 3 breaths here and start to feel your breathing come into your back body here. Can you feel the compression when your lungs fill and feel your muscles in your back body press against the mat? It's generating a massaging and enlivening your lungs here. If you need to ever come out of this, you can feel free to just straighten your legs. So we'll just do this for 2 more breaths here, and then we'll come into wind relieving posture. Now focus your breathing on your navel region here. Focus your breath. Picture it inhaling through your belly button or your navel. And picture yourself like a bathtub here, if you can. You're filling up your oxygen just like water. Prana is considered energy in Eastern philosophy and yoga. And in this posture, we're filling ourselves with prana. We're filling ourselves with that energy, that air, that liquid power of oxygen. So from here, we're going to go ahead and extend our legs back down. And on our next exhale, we'll bring our right knee up to our chest. If it's more comfortable for you to place your hands behind your thigh here and keep a little more space between your knee and chest, feel free to do that. You can also, if it's comfortable, place your hands above your knee on your outer shin here. So either one is fine. If it's more comfortable to have your hands behind your thigh, go for it there. If it's more comfortable to have your hands in front of your knee, feel free. Gently press out with your knee, but gently pull in with your hands here. And we'll just do 2 breaths here with a slight bit of energetic relation between your knee wanting to press out and your hands holding your knee in. We'll do 2 more breaths here. bigger, deeper Ujjayi breaths if you can here. One more cycle, and on your exhale, we'll extend the right leg out and back down. And then on an inhale, we'll bring your left leg up. Same hand placement as before. You can either have your hands behind your thigh or your hands in front of your knee here. On your next inhale, bring your other knee up with you, and we'll place both hands behind our thighs here, if it's comfortable for you in this position. If not, you can just plant your feet here if you need a break from this posture. You can plant your feet, have your knees in slightly, your feet out slightly, and you can rest like this. What we are going to do here is a supine twist. So we'll go ahead and you can either extend your right leg, extend your arms out to the sides of you here, and then gently let your left knee revolve over your hips and try to touch down on your right side. If all you can do here is keep your knee up in the air, that's fine. Some people, it's more comfortable to bend both knees. So you can bend both knees and lay them down here like this and do a supine twist. Okay. And your head gently gazes to the opposite side of where your knee is at and up. So it's an opposite and up motion for the neck here. And don't feel like you have to strain into it. If you keep your head neutral and in the center and that's enough for you, then feel free to stick with that. We'll just do 2 more breaths here in this twist. Anytime you can come out of it if you need to. On your next inhale, we'll bring ourselves back to center here. Arms are still out at our side, and we'll exhale and extend our left leg this time. And we'll bend our hips and right knee over to the left side, and our head will face slightly away to the right. Now, this is part of the squeezing and massaging your organs that they really enjoy in a supine pose here. And maybe I encourage you to listen if there's any tightness or sensation of clenching or grasping here, and to just focus your breathing into that area. Your mind has an amazing capacity to heal itself. It just requires inner sensing and focusing your energy to the areas that need relief. This inner sensing is referred to as pratyahara, the ability to draw your mind into your body and your inner awareness. At any point on your next exhale, we'll come back out and we'll bring our legs up to center. We'll go ahead and do a few just resting breaths here, a few relaxing breaths here. If you have blocks, you can use a block here to prop underneath your sacrum. Your sacrum is not your spine. Your sacrum is the center plate of your hips. You can bring your block in here under the center plate of your hips. And we'll be in a restorative bridge posture here with your arms out by your sides or down parallel to your torso or even up above your head here. And if it's comfortable within your practice, On an inhale, you can bring your legs up overhead into Viparita Karani. This is also called waterfall. It's not so much about overextending here. So if you feel more comfortable with your feet planted on the ground, I encourage you to stay within there, within that part of the practice. But if it is comfortable, this can be a very soothing, positive experience to be in Viparita Karani here. And again, if you simply just need to keep your hips on the ground here or on your block, feel free to stay here. We're going to come into Shavasana out of Viparita Karani or supported bridge. So after 2 or 3 breaths, or however long is comfortable for you, go ahead and release all of that. And we'll come down into Shavasana. We are going to run just a few moments over. We're almost at 10:15 now. So I encourage you, if you have places to go and places to be, get yourself another minute of Shavasana here. If you want to stay tuned in for a moment, and you can, go ahead and just release all your breathing, release whatever box you were trying to fit yourself into, release whatever tension there was for you as you arrived. Shavasana is called corpse position because it's a significant moment to let go. Let go of any grasping or tension you may have had within the practice, any tension or grasping you had without the practice. No control over the breathing here, just find what's comfortable, sweet and steady within your own breathing practice. And stay in Shavasana as long as it's comfortable for you here. In the later parts of winter, your body is slowly waking up and transitioning back from a state of being cold and having to warm itself constantly into a state of growing and expansion coming into the warmer months. And so in the next few weeks worth of postures, we'll transition from more of these energy building postures to more just an energy releasing postures. And as we continue our practice, I'll explain what those are as we get into it. Continue just to relax here, find your breathing, let it go. I'm going to chant the Gayatri mantra, and whenever you're comfortable, feel free to come back up into a seated position as you either continue to stay in Shavasana or come into a meditative posture in seating position. Om Bhur-bhuvasva Tatsavator Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dio Yona Prachodhyat. If you'd like to join me in a seated posture whenever you're ready. We'll just close out together with one more chant of Om. It's said when the original yogic and Vedic texts were being passed down that the first sound the universe made when it was coming into creation was Om. And so when we chant Om, we're calling back ourselves to that creative power, that creative energy. We'll exhale and then come to an inhale. And you can follow along if you want. Oh. Thank you for showing up today for yourself. Thank you for showing up here with me. And I hope you enjoyed today's practice. I will be just kind of sitting here for a little bit afterwards if there's any questions. And you can feel free to take a picture of today's lesson plan if that's something you'd like to do. I also have the class recorded, so if you ever would like a link to the Zoom recording, you can also get that for me as well. Thanks for being here together. Thanks, Gail. Have a great day.
You too, Nate. See you soon.